The spectacular but endangered California condor is the largest bird in North America. These superb gliders travel widely to feed on carcasses of deer, pigs, cattle, sea lions, whales, and other animals. Pairs nest in caves high on cliff faces. The population fell to just 22 birds in the 1980s, but there are now about 275 free-flying birds in California, Utah, Arizona, and Baja California, with more than 160 in captivity. Lead poisoning remains a severe threat to their long-term prospects. California condors have been reintroduced to mountains of southern and central California, Arizona, Utah, and Baja California. Nesting habitats range from scrubby chaparral to forested mountain regions up to about 6,000 feet elevation. Foraging areas are in open grasslands and can be far from primary nesting sites, requiring substantial daily commutes. Condors glide and soar when foraging, so they depend on reliable air movements and terrain that enables extended soaring flight. They are so heavy that they can have trouble taking off, so they often use open, windy areas where they can run downhill or launch themselves from a cliff edge or exposed branch to get airborne. Before captive breeding programs began in the 1980s, all remaining condors foraged in an area encompassing about 2,700 square miles. This range is now expanding as the wild population grows. Young condors learn the full extent of their range partly from other more experienced birds. California condors eat carrion of land and marine mammals such as deer, cattle, pigs, rabbits, sea lions, and whales. They swallow bone chips and marine shells to meet their calcium needs. They favor small to medium-sized carcasses, probably because smaller bones are easily consumed and digested. Condors locate carcasses with their keen eyesight, not by smell, by observing other scavengers assembled at a carcass. Once they land, they take over the carcass from smaller species, but they are tolerant of each other and usually feed in groups. Condors are wary of humans while feeding, which is probably why they do not use roadkill as a food source. In captivity, condors consume 5–7% of their body mass per day to maintain their weight, but because their crop, an enlarged part of the esophagus, can hold 3 pounds of food, they may only have to eat every 2–3 days. Young are fed by regurgitation. California condors can cover hundreds of miles in one flight as they soar for hours at a time, looking for carrion. These long-distance travelers pair off during the breeding season, but are highly social at roosting, bathing, and feeding sites. Individuals recognize one another. Generally, condors are not aggressive towards each other, though dominant birds will threaten opponents by standing erect, inflating air sacs in the head and neck, opening the bill, and eventually lunging toward the opponent. Pairs are monogamous. They share nesting duties nearly equally, stay together throughout the year, and usually endure until one member dies. Courtship involves coordinated pair flights, mutual preening, and displays. Young are dependent on their parents for at least 6 months after fledging. Consequently, most condors do not nest in successive years. Condors bathe frequently. Mates and chicks help groom each other's feathers and skin. They clean up after feeding by rubbing the head and neck on a nearby rock or other surface. Condors sun themselves, which helps dry feathers prior to flight and helps the bird warm up. Condors roost together on horizontal limbs of tall trees, on ledges, or in cliff potholes. Sleeping condors sometimes lie prone on their perch with their heads tucked behind their shoulder blades. Given their size, condors are not normally hunted by other animals, except humans and occasionally golden eagles. However, nestlings and eggs are at risk of predation from common ravens, golden eagles, and black bears. Young condors play, especially as late-stage nestlings, mock capturing all sorts of objects in vegetation and leaping about in seeming exuberance.